I now call on the public orator to present the honorary graduand, Mr. John Lee, for admission to his degree.
Vice-Chancellor, Lord Mayor, Mayor, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. As Chairman and Managing Director of Morning Foods and Chairman of Oaks Millers, John Lee oversees the UK's only surviving independently owned major breakfast cereal manufacturer and one of the largest independent animal feed manufacturers in the UK. But to you and me, he makes Mornflake. When I asked John what it was like to know that he is responsible for a solid and healthy start to the day for millions of people, he was a little taken aback. It seemed that he had only just realized the enormous significance of his own and his company's legacies. "When you put it like that," he said, "it seems like quite a lot of responsibility, so it's probably better not to think about it." John is not the type to make such audacious claims about his accomplishments. He is a humble man who has a passion for everything he sets his mind to. John was born in South Cheshire into a family with a long history of doing business in Cheshire. John was educated at the then all-boys Oundle School in Northamptonshire. He then went on to Christ's College, Cambridge, and studied economics and land management, but not before a gap year. John had the great pleasure of being a purser on a Canadian Pacific transatlantic liner that sailed from Liverpool to Canada, and it was a great way of meeting many interesting people along the way. After Cambridge, John worked as an accountant for what is now KPMG. This took him all over the world for 4 years, and also helped him gain the skills to become a part of and eventually run his own family business. John had no pressure to join the business, which has been in the family for 14 generations. He actually always thought he would be doing something else in the world of finance. But his father, who was running Morning Foods, was an engineer and sent out a cry for help in managing the business, utilizing the skills and knowledge that John had gained during his time at KPMG. I asked John if he had to start at the bottom as some sort of character-building exercise for coming into the family business. At one point, he was at the bottom, but that was during another gap year job. When he formally came into Morning Foods in 1971, John came as a fully qualified charter accountant. To say that John Lee makes Mornflake is both a compliment and a significant understatement. Morning Foods and Oaks Millers are large groups of companies which have their roots in the millings of oats since 1675, but have grown and diversified into dozens of different divisions and thousands of products worldwide. In the almost 45 years that John has worked for his family-owned business, it has grown by a factor of 20 or 30 times or more. The innovation and mechanizations in these decades has been mind-boggling, and his companies are one of the biggest employers in Crewe. John's modesty and earnestness has him downplaying his family legacy that stretches almost 400 years. He would rather not highlight the history, but there are those who think it is good marketing. John, instead, is one who is always looking forward, never backward. And he prefers to refer to the company as not a family business, it's an independent business that has a long-term view. However, it is important to point out that John's greatest business achievement is inextricably linked to his family history. When asked what that was, he simply said, "We're still here." In this globalized market of the 21st century, when many of Morning Food's independent competitors are gone, John leads his team in the complicated playing field against mostly multinationals. In reality, John finds it a great honor to lead as the 14th generation of oat millers. He has high esteem for his great team of people, the fantastic products that they produce, and the fact that they are contributing to the health of the nation. For John, running a company is like a 200-piece orchestra, everyone playing together. He says, one wrong note ruins the whole thing. Being able to lead that is great. He is a proud man of, with a business in Cheshire, and the group of companies supports charitable endeavors and the arts in the Cheshire region as a matter of principle. John's success is through his strong and commendable work ethic, his self-motivation, and his determination for continual improvement. He believes that one must innately, even genetically, have the buzz for continual improvement, as a sense of enthusiasm and the drive to be successful. He says, when you stop aspiring, stop achieving, that's the day you turn your toes up. Inspirationally, John has never had the feeling that he did not want to get out of bed and go to work, and he has never come home in the evening and said, that was a waste of time. John is not all business, though. He loves reading and traveling, although he enjoys chillaxing in general and a bit of golf in his spare time. As an amateur historian, he often drags his wife Elizabeth off to ancient castles or battlefields. His hobby of modern European history has led them to having visited most of Western Europe. And being one to always need something to aspire to, he has a yearning to start visiting Eastern Europe. To you and me, John Lee may be the guy who makes Mornflake. But to his valued team of employees, he is forward-looking, enthusiastic businessman. To business and the cereals industry, he is a leader whom they have entrusted with presidencies, fellowships, and memberships of too many organizations to mention here. To his wife Elizabeth and sons James and Edward, he is a proud husband and father who has relished every moment of watching his family grow and succeed in their own endeavors. To the locals, he is a leader and supporter of all things Cheshire. Vice Chancellor, in the name of the Senate and of the Council, I present to you for the admission to the degree of Doctor of Business Administration, honoris causa, John Lee.
By virtue of the authority invested in me, I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Business Administration honoris causa in this university. My congratulations. It gives me great pleasure to invite Dr. John Lee to address the congregation.
Vice-Chancellor, Lord Mayor, civic dignitaries, university staff, graduates, proud family members, ladies and gentlemen. I am deeply honoured and thrilled to be awarded this degree here today, and I thank the University of Chester enormously for giving me this very great honour. It's a particular pleasure to be associated with a university which is so near to my home, and to be able to share this occasion with so many of you young people who are graduating here today and starting out on your careers. I was going to say to start out on your chosen careers, but I'm very well aware that one or two of you may still be not quite sure exactly what it is that you want to do. In offering my congratulations and saying well done on your fantastic achievement, you'll be well aware that the most important thing that you've attained is education, education, education. I wonder who it was who said that. But it's something that nobody can ever take away from you. It can't be taxed, it can't be removed, it can't be taken. No government can get its hands on it. It's yours. And having had this wonderful education and achieved the great success that we're celebrating here today, I can only pass on one little bit of career advice that I have learned by experience over the years. It is vital that you find out exactly what it is that floats your boat. What do you like doing? The greatest privilege in your working life is to enjoy what you do, to do it well, as well as, of course, as being successful and good at it. But have fun doing it. Enjoy it. In my career, I started out with all sorts of different jobs and was once asked at the age of 17 or so whether I was going to join the family business, and I rather too quickly said, oh no, I don't think so. I thought at the time that that might have been a bit rash to say it quite so quickly, and it took another 12 years to find out how rash. But the experience gained in that 12 years was really quite fantastic. My first degree was exactly 50 years ago from the Department of Land Economy at the University of Cambridge. I was the only member of that faculty who decided that chartered surveying was not for him. So I changed my career path, changed direction, and became a chartered accountant with what is now KPMG in London. What on earth are you doing that for? My friends cried out. The answer was that I wanted to learn as much as possible about business, about all types of business. And frankly, there seemed to be no better way at the time of doing just that, and that possibly still holds true today. As an accountant, you have the chance to go out and visit all sorts of different industries and different businesses, different companies, if you like, the good, the bad, and the ugly. What a training ground. The family business, however, was always lurking in the background and dates back to 1675. And the fact that it's still here today is an amazing achievement in its own right. The history of it is worthy of a Jeffrey Archer novel. And the stories of it over the years have provided the ultimate roller coaster of ups and downs. They always say that a family business cannot survive beyond the third generation or so. Well, this one did, and then nearly didn't. And then it did again, and then it nearly did not. But enough survived at the bottom of each cycle to allow it, or more correctly, part of it, to keep going into the next generation. After nearly 350 years, we are still here, and I am immensely proud of it. I refer to it now, however, as an independent business managed by a very professional and highly trained group of people, but still with that rather essential family ethos. Probably not many of you know that my company is one of the largest independent milling companies and groups in the UK and is based right here in Cheshire. And the story of its development is that of the milling industry itself. 150 years ago, there were hundreds, if not thousands, of tiny mills dotted around the countryside in towns and villages everywhere. Mill House, Mill Cottage, Mill Lane, the very names bear testimony to this today. Back then, mills were very manual affairs, consisting mostly of men humping bags around and doing everything by hand. A laborious job, if ever there was one. But there's something about milling, they used to say. Once a miller, always a miller. It gets into your blood. It's a bit like going to sea, which is something else I did in my youth. The days of humping bags have long gone. The millers of 2015 would in many ways be unrecognizable to the millers of 1850, except that the principles of dealing with, sorting, cleaning, handling, and processing grain are as old as the hills and haven't changed. If you ever go to Pompeii, and I thoroughly recommend that, you will see millstones preparing flour for turning into bread on the same premises, a vertically integrated food industry in one building. Those techniques were still being used in 1850, but by then the bakery had moved off to separate premises. The mill in 1850 would have handled little more than a ton of two of product a day. It has been superseded by mills today that handle a ton or so every 15 seconds, but they still use the same number of people to do it, i.e. one. So whilst the principles of milling haven't changed, the application of science, of technology, of engineering, of IT have transformed the industry and helped to improve the standard of living of the population at large in the process. A lot of this has happened during my lifetime. My privilege has been to be part of that change and to lead a great team of people, which is the most important asset in any business, which incidentally is the only asset which never appears on any balance sheet. If we had stayed still and not invested in the new technology, if we had not kept completely up to date with the latest thinking and techniques, we too would no longer be here. But that is the exciting part, managing change, spotting opportunities, being creative, making things happen. In short, if we hadn't changed with the times, we would have been reduced to that mill house in Mill Street and possibly even been a museum to boot. Running anything, though, is full of day-to-day problems. This applies equally to a university, a manufacturing business, a sports facility, a shop, or whatever it is. It's how you deal with those problems that matters. Anyone running a business in the same industry will be faced with the very same issues, and one needs to remember that. Nobody will tell you what to do or how to do it. You have to discover these things for yourself, and that is where your education is so invaluable. I am enormously proud of the nearly 750 people across our wider group who are involved in bringing over 4,000 products to market. We are an agribusiness in every sense of the word, not just supplying supermarkets and the food industry throughout the world, but farmers and agricultural businesses throughout the UK, with a vast range of manufactured products, all based on cereals. We also, incidentally, generate electricity from our own renewable resources. In 1850, mills were powered by windmills, or water mills. To some degree, we have taken the industry back to where it started, back to its roots, by building the country's first 21st century windmill. So when I'm asked in the evening what I've done during the day, I can truthfully say that an awful lot of cereals have been processed and produced and they're on the market tonight that were not there in the morning. It is enormously creative, and I think that manufacturing, making things, should still be at the backbone of any modern economy. 100 years ago, made in England, made in the UK, was synonymous worldwide with quality and excellence in manufacturing and innovation. As a nation, we are still manufacturers, but just don't seem to be quite as good at it as we used to be, in the sense that we don't do as much. But don't get me wrong, we do still make lots of things and do it extremely well, but I would think it would be better if we could just make a little more. We still have the ideas, and I would love to think that your generation, can help to bring back more manufacturing into the UK. I hope that some of you will join with me in getting that great buzz of excitement when you help to create, to make, and to manufacture things. I do hope so. Although our business is based in Cheshire, we now have factories in Scotland and Wales, as well as England, and nearly 20% of our group's output are exported last year to over 62 countries around the world, taking the name of Cheshire to every corner of the planet. Perhaps I've been lucky, but then you also create your own luck, and I hope that all of you here today will have your share of good fortune. You are young and creative. You are innovative. you have been taught to think and to analyze. When Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, two of the wealthiest men in the world, were asked to single out the most important factors that helped them with their success in life, they both pointed to focus. You should give the maximum attention to those things that matter to you, things that you want to succeed in. Identify those few things that you have a great passion for and go for it. So, in wishing all the greatest success and happiness to those of you graduating today, I can only add how absolutely delighted and thrilled I am to receive this honorary degree which the university has so generously bestowed upon me. Thank you.